Hey kids, this is John Corabi from Every Band But ABBA. Beautiful. And let's rock. Turn it up.
Here's a little song about a woman I know. Don't need a lot, but you better give your all. She got a gleam in her eyes, as bright as the sun. And everybody knows that she's the one. Now you're calling awake, you're tripping on the
I fell for it. I made a post this morning. I got up and I had like a gazillion fucking emails on this. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's fucking hilarious. I don't know. Let me see.
Molly Crew holds secret rehearsals with Corabi Vince Neil to be ousted. Hey, nice. Congratulations.
I'm like, it's funny. In the last week, a fan, somebody posted that after a performance Vince did, all the fans are like saying Corabi's got to come back. Then about 3 days later, there was a thing like Nikki orders Vince to lose 50 pounds or they're bringing Corabi back. And now today I get up and there's this bullshit and I'm like, fuck, man, let it go. I did that fucking record like 30 years ago. I'm proud of it. It's a great album, but fuck off. Like it's been 30 fucking years. Let it go.
Years. It has been.
Yeah, it's been 94. Well, it's been
27.
22. In 2022, it'll be 30 years that I joined. And 2026 will be 30 years that I left. It's like, come on, guys, seriously, let it fucking go.
So let's just get this straight. You're not going back to the crew.
No, and I actually stated, I'm just going to level with you. I mean, after the incredibly fucking pathetic, stupid performance, or my portrayal in the fucking movie, The Dirt. And then, I won't mention his name, whatever, but a certain band member's comments about my lack of writing talent and my contributions to the record. I'm like, why would I do that to myself? Fuck off.
Seriously,
Never gonna.
It's done.
Done. It's been put to bed. Moving on.
And I do take offense at that. I still think that's the best Crew album they release. It's a great album.
Honestly, dude, again, to each his own. This is why Baskin Robbins has 32 flavors. But, it's just, again, I had a great time doing the record. I had a great time with the guys. Something went south, probably about 10 years ago. I have no idea what it is. Can't put my finger on it, nor do I care. But it's just like, fuck, man, they're like these. But the thing that amazes me, I was just telling my wife, how the fuck does a legitimate music outlet get to just make shit up? Do you know what I mean?
Well, what is a legitimate music outlet?
I guess it's called the Metal Den or some shit.
Right.
Like, how the fuck do they get off on just writing whatever the fuck? Oh, you know what? Today, let's talk about Richie Kotzen going back to Poison. Dude, seriously, how do you?
Well, it's all for hits, man.
I get it, but it's like, when does it become not cool? Do you know what I mean? I get the click, and that's what I said. The clickbait. It's
right.
Clickbait, and I understand that. But it's like, I guarantee you, if I went in and said, hey guys, if you buy my fucking new single, Cosi Bella, if I can get to 1 million downloads, Motley said I could come back. You know what I mean? It's like, no, dude, fucking let it go.
I might take that soundbite and put it on my site for clickbait.
Hey, as long as I don't run with it, I don't give a fuck.
Never. Well, listen, man, welcome back. This is your second time on Let's Rock. I talked to you before a Dead Daisies show in Ottawa.
Okay.
I guess that was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. So welcome back. It's been a long 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a weird 3 years as well. I'm still kind of trying to figure out like what's going on here with this COVID thing. I just, once again, I just had a shit ton of gigs, cancel, postpone, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's pretty weird. So I'm supposed to do a show, I believe in November in Canada, but what are the rules up there? Like, is there quarantining or?
Apparently there's a 2-week quarantine still.
Yeah. So I don't get how, it's over in
Alberta.
Yes. But I would imagine that's a federal mandate,
That's
right?
federal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even know how they're going to do that, because there's no fucking way that I'm going to be able to hang out in Alberta for 2 fucking weeks quarantined. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess they're just hoping that it's going to be better at that point. Who knows? I was wondering that. That was one of my questions for you. What are your plans for Langdon, Alberta, when you get there and have to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks?
That's not going to happen, my friend. So I need to sort that out. That's why I was asking. I'm like, I keep looking at that date going, or like well, not now, but I would have been home, but last week or the week before, I was supposed to go to Mexico and do 6 or 7 shows. And of the 6 or 7 shows, 5 of the cities went into lockdown again. So I'm just sitting there going, all these fans are going, hey, dude, come to England. Love the new track. Come to England. Come to Germany. Come. I go, I'd love to. But I don't know what each government's mandates are. So I'm just sitting here now, man. I'm just keeping my fucking fingers crossed, hoping that, gigs are, like I said, gigs are postponing in America.
Right.
I can't even imagine going to Canada or Mexico or Germany or England or whatever. So I don't know how that's going to happen.
No, it's 2 weeks in a hotel, man. And the only thing that could make it even close to worth your while is if you get like 10 or 15 shows in Canada and just go across the country.
It's one show.
I know. Get some other gigs is my point.
Well, I don't know.
That's crazy.
I'm clueless, dude.
I saw the other day too that Judas Priest is coming up to Montreal for one show, and I'm wondering how are they going to do a tour of the States and then come up to Canada, sit in a hotel room for 2 weeks, and then play one gig? It's impossible.
Unless they're making some sort of allowances, like that vaccine card or a COVID test right when you get to the country. I don't know. But
that might be it. Yeah.
I have to check and see. Judas Priest is a little different ball game than a John Corabi acoustic show. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But
right.
Who knows?
Maybe for something like that, it might just be if you're double vaccinated and you test negative, come on in and do your show.
Even being double vaccinated doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to pass a COVID test.
Right. But that's kind of the thing up here now. If you're double vaccinated, you can do a whole lot more than if you're not vaccinated.
Well, I am, but it's just, who knows? Anyway, moving right along.
Great song.
Thank you, buddy.
Congratulations on that one, man. I'm not going to say it right.
Cosi Bella.
Cosi Bella. Okay. Fantastic. And the thing I like about it the most is that it's so different from what I think most people are expecting from you.
This is true. And that's been pretty much across the board. Everybody said, wow, I really dig the tune. Not what I expected. But the thing that I find, I can't say humorous, but I guess I'm a little perplexed by it, because if you go back and you look at, if you could take all of the interviews that I've ever done where somebody said, hey, who are your influences? I've always said, number 1, the Beatles. Number 2, Zeppelin. Number 3, Aerosmith. And if you really listen to a lot of Aerosmith things with the harmonies and different things, that Tyler's a huge Beatles fan. So, and then, you know, a really strong 4th would be Queen for me. So this was something that I kind of had in my back pocket song. I had it for a couple of years. I had actually sat down for some writing sessions, knowing that Marty was going to be producing the last Dead Daisies record that I did, Burn It Down. Marty and I got together in advance and we sat down and we worked on some ideas. And, you know, the typical thing with the Daisies was, you know, we would come up with some riffs or some rough ideas. And, you know, when we all got together to do an album, we would play each other our ideas off of our iPhones or computers. And in the Daisies' defense, I just had Cosi Bella was like, you know, me with an acoustic guitar and Marty and I just kind of scatting a melody over the acoustic. And the guys heard it and they're like, you know, I could see like they were like, you know, what exactly are you trying to do here? So they kind of passed on it. So I put it to bed, and you know, I left the band in January of 2019. I was busier than shit though, that whole year doing acoustic shows and traveling. So 2020 came along and I talked to Marty. We got on the phone and I said, "Hey Marty, I love working with you. I would love to do my solo record with you if you can work something out here. I know you're really busy, and you know, let's face it, to use Marty, it's costs money." So we worked out a little deal. We got together, and then COVID hit. At which point I panicked. COVID really made me rethink everything. It was kind of that deal where I sat there and I go, holy shit, like a huge percentage of my income comes from touring and live shows. So I took some money and I see if I can show you here. Like I literally went out and I bought like some recording gear. And I took some Zoom classes and I learned how to use Pro Tools. And I'm still very caveman with it. I'm not really good at it. I'm okay. But I'm good enough to where I can put my ideas down, sing a vocal, do some backing vocals, add all the parts that I'm hearing in my head. And then I email the song to Marty and go, hey, make this sound like a record. You know what I mean? Right. But the song itself, like, as soon as I told Marty, I said, dude, I'm really kind of hearing this like Penny Lane or Killer Queen by Queen. And as soon as I said it, he was like, yes, I totally understand what you're doing. Great. And I just said, you know, doing this the way that I'm doing it now, just one song at a time with a video, it kind of allows me the freedom of, you know, yeah, you may or may not like this song, but if you know, maybe the next song you'll like. It's not like buying a record where you're like, well, I like these 2 songs and then the rest of the album is just bullshit filler, or, you know, you're not crazy about it. So here you can buy the songs that you like and you're not stuck with a whole record. And then what I'll do is I'll basically see what songs everybody likes, you know, where they're at with them. And then I'll do a record of I'll do an actual vinyl or CDs and I can sell them at my shows. And, you know, I'm gauging what I'm going to do with the vinyl and CDs by the reaction I get from the fans. And, you know, but it also, there's a little bit of a freedom. I'm sorry, this is a long answer.
No, that's what I like.
There's a little bit of a freedom of not being locked into the confines of a band. Like this song is what it is. Boom, here it is. And I think to a degree, between my acoustic record that I put out several years ago and this song, I've kind of taken the proverbial eraser and erased all the boundaries on my career. And now the next song, nobody really knows what I'm going to do. And I kind of like that. It just sets me up to be, you know, one of the things that I said to Marty was, I really just want to be musical. We're musicians. Let's have some fun. You know, if the song calls for all the guitars to drop out and somebody just play a triangle for the verse, let's do it. Let's experiment. So I'm just having fun, man. I'm just doing, you know, trying to be musical.
Isn't think that what it's all about?
Yeah, I mean, and it's weird. I think, not without, you know, being redundant or beating a dead horse, like, but that was the beauty of a lot of the bands in the late 60s and all through the 70s. They were really experimental, and even the fans were. It wasn't unusual to go see Black Sabbath on a Wednesday and then go see somebody like Joni Mitchell or Seals and Crofts on Friday. The fans were way more receptive to all different things, but the bands were really kind of experimental as well. So and there wasn't as many labels on genres of music. It was just rock and roll. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of just doing my own thing, trying to figure out where my slice of pie is in the digital world. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I have no fucking idea how this is going to turn out.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing about the music industry these days, is it's become all digital and all singles. Like, how many albums do people sell?
Well, and that's, you know, there's a lot of people have asked me over the last couple of years, like, you know, hey, Gene Simmons made this comment about rock is dead, and, you know, and I get what he was saying. Now, on one hand, you can go to a Kiss show and it's sold out every fucking night. So the fans are still there. You know what I mean? But this little gadget right here has changed the way we listen to music. My wife being a prime example. She's a huge fan of rock music. She loves Motley Crue. She loves Scorpions, Iron Maiden. She loves everything. But what she does is, you know, she'll see that, oh, some new band's got a record out. She goes to iTunes or Apple Tunes. She listens to all the samples and she downloads the ones that strike her immediately.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
So what Gene was saying is, now, especially too, like the streaming world, now Cosi Bella is kicking ass on all the streaming platforms. Now, is it going to translate into a fan, say yourself, who goes, man, I really like this song. Now you've got it on your playlist on Spotify, but are you going to go over to iTunes and actually download the fucking thing?
Or buy the CD, right?
Right. That's what Gene Simmons is talking about. He goes, until the fans realize that this is what we do for a living, this is how we survive on you guys downloading the actual song or downloading the actual record. It's, you know, there's a what did he call it? He called it the fans have a little sense of entitlement, where it's just like, oh, why would I download it if I can just listen to it here for free?
Right.
You know what I mean? Whatever. So, you know, it's an unknown world, man, you know, but I'm rolling with it, see what happens, and, you know, hopefully keep my fingers crossed. And once I can get back to work, I'll get back to work. You know what I mean? Like touring and doing live shows. But right now it's an experiment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I ordered the Iron Maiden CD, and it just came a couple days ago. And I told my buddy that I got it, and he said, "Why? I've been listening to it for 2 days." And I said, "Yeah, but I like the
Yeah.
CDs. I like supporting the band. I like,
And a lot of my fans have said, dude, I don't really, I want the CD, I want the vinyl. But the amount of people like yourself, I mean, I hate to be whatever pessimistic. I'm not. I'm being realistic with this right now. The percentage number is so fucking low of people that actually buy records.
right.
And vinyl and CD, you know what I mean? So it's like, and over the last 10 years or so, I mean, if you look at the sales on my acoustic record, I got great reviews on that acoustic record. I got great reviews on the Live 94 album, and all of the Dead Daisy stuff. It was the three places that you sell the most records is Amazon, on your own personal website, johncorabi.com or deaddaisies.com, whatever,
Right.
and at live shows. So why bother? You know what I mean? Like some bands aren't even doing new music anymore. They're like, there's no point.
Well, that's the next question, right? Is it worth making an album? You were talking about how much it costs to produce all this stuff. Is it even worth it?
Well, the thing of it is, this is why I invested the money during COVID in Pro Tools. I don't have to rely on anybody. And, I'm just trying to think for the future. I'm not really that great on Pro Tools, but I'll get better. The more I use it, the better I'll get. But also, if I can eventually just write and record and mix and master my own shit right here, then I'm good to go. Now, Cosi Bella, for example, I can honestly tell you, now Marty redid the drums. His son did, Evan, and the bass guitar, and then he added some horns, but a majority of that, the guitars, the vocals, everything was done in this room, in my bedroom. Okay. I recorded it right here on my laptop, and I sent it to Marty, and then he sprinkled his fairy dust on it, being the amazing producer that he is, and he made it sound like a polished record. I'm not at Marty's level yet.
Right.
Eventually I'll get there.
It's a little different than reel to reel, eh?
A little, yeah. I mean, listen, trust me, I'd love to own Electric Ladyland or one of those awesome old school studios. But I mean, even that to a degree, like I remember being at Eddie Van Halen's house, and he was showing me and Brian Tishy, and he was showing his studio 5150, and he said, I record everything on tape. Problem of it is, his tape used to cost, the 2-inch tape used to cost back in the day X amount of dollars, but then everybody went to the digital world, so everybody stopped really kind of mass producing the tape. So now a tape that was like, well, hypothetically $200 back in the day is now $500 a reel, because you know what I mean. So everything, you just do what you do, you know what I mean, and you kind of figure it out. But look, at the end of the day, I'm really excited about the song. I love the tune. I love the way it came out, and I'm kind of, it's scary doing it this way, but on another level, I'm kind of excited about it. You know what I mean? It's a weird time.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for mentioning Eddie Van Halen. I try to get him into every interview I do. And
I saw the guitar in the background, and it kind of.
Yeah, he's my main guy. It's been a tough year, hasn't it?
Yeah, Dusty Hill and
Charlie
just
Watts.
everything, man. It's I think this COVID thing, especially last year, like even some of the drug related deaths, I know they've said you know, here in America, like the alcohol rate it's gone up like 560%. People are sitting in their fucking homes. They're worried about everything. And they're running to other things to have a sense of relief, you know. But Eddie was an awesome dude. He was funnier than shit, very quirky, talented beyond belief. And, you know, I can tell you right now, like having there's a video of me and a bunch of friends playing at a backyard party at Eddie's house.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And that's when we were in his studio, and he had a room, dude. Like as a Van Halen fan, you'll appreciate this. But he had a storage room, and we're looking around the studio, and he was playing. This was right around the time when Wolfie was joining the band, like as a, you know, and so we're listening to everything, and we're looking around the studio, and Eddie's telling us, like, I don't do anything digitally. Everything's, you know, analog. And okay, cool, you know, awesome. And we're looking and we're listening to some new riffs he had. And Eric Dover and I were kind of off on the side, and we saw this curtain, and we moved the curtain, and it was like a storage room. And it was all these tapes. And so we said to Eddie, we're like, dude, what's this back here? He goes, oh, that's where I keep all my tape. And we're like, oh, is it new tape, or, you know, what's the deal? And he's like, no. Anything with a number on it, like numbers, he goes, they're full of ideas. And I swear to God, I shit you not, like this room was probably 20 by 20 by 20. And it had floor to ceiling shelving all the way around this room. And I'm telling you, like 2-inch tapes, every shelf was completely packed with 2-inch tape all the way around the room. And then there was a pile of probably another 200 tapes sitting on the floor in the middle of the room. And every one of them had numbers on it. And I was sitting there, I turned to Eric Dover and I was like, dude, God forbid, if anything fucking happens to this guy, they're going to be able to release Van Halen music for like 20 fucking years, 30 years. There's so much music in that room. It's ridiculous. Like,
was it all just noodling, or was it actual songs?
You know, who knows? I didn't listen to them all, but it was literally like 2-inch tapes, and it would have numbers and like just idea titles. Filed. Like hundreds of them. And I was just sitting there looking, I'm like, okay, there's bands that have been around for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years that haven't released this much music. He released what he released, and he's got all of this left over.
Wow.
It's crazy, dude. It was unbelievable. Pretty scary.
Pretty awesome.
Awesome. It was. You know what? It was really funny. We literally walked away from that meeting, and we said, I was sitting in the van on the way home. We were just kind of kidding at Eddie's kind of nuances in his behavior that day. And I was like, dude, he is truly the Howard Hughes of music, like rock music. He was really nuanced, and he would do things and say things where I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? Okay. And I would sit for a second. I would go, holy shit. Like, he's certifiable. Like, what did he just say? But then he would say something. I would go, 2 minutes later, I'd go, this guy's a fucking genius. He's a fucking genius. And the whole time we were there like 2 whole days hanging out with him. And I was just like, he's truly, you know, you see the movie of Howard Hughes where he's like, He's like, no, you got to file the rivets down so the plane will go faster and make it this, this kind of metal or this aluminum. We're going to do it in aluminum. And then he goes home and he pisses in a jar and saves it. And he's walking around with tissue boxes on his feet. You know what I mean? You're like,
Right.
what you know what I mean? It was like, it was pretty crazy in a really cool way.
That's a cool story, man. That's awesome. And before you mentioned you were an Aerosmith fan, you're a Van Halen fan, Queen. Do you think we will ever see another band as big as those guys, a newer band that's going to get to that level? There's a lot of, like, the Foo Fighters are selling out stadiums, but they've been around for 25 years. Metallica's doing it. They've been around for 40 years. Is there going to be a new band that's going to get to that height of popularity, or is it just impossible these days?
You're talking about bands that, I don't know how to word this. You're talking about bands that have a history already.
Right.
So you're asking like right now, and I find it difficult because, again, with this internet and this, I think people's attention spans have shortened so much that it's like, here's the thing. I don't know if I can explain this properly, but when I was growing up listening to music, you bought the album and you sat in your bedroom and you listened to these songs. You listened, I'll use Canadian bands as an example. You listen to Rush, Bastille Day. You listen to or Dick Dats and Narpits, and you listen to fucking, Working Man. The Guess Who. You listen to No Sugar Tonight or American Woman. Who are they writing about? What? And then along came MTV, who I think actually helped a lot of the bands in the 80s, but it took the imagination out of the song. Like back when I was when you listen to, for example, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, I was a kid going, what does he mean by bustle in a hedgerow? What does that mean? And you had to use your imagination to try and picture or figure out what it was that he was talking about and how does it apply to me? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And then MTV came along, and the whole notion of having one guy, the music director, video director, interpret what this song means and shove it down everybody's throats. This is what this song means. It took the imagination out a little bit. And then the record companies come in. Once these bands like your Motley Crues and your Bon Jovis and your Def Leppards and all these bands started selling, out of the gate 1 million records and 5 million records. Skid Row did 3, 4, 5 million records their first album. Well, then all of the record labels' patience level went down. It's like you either sell 1 million or you're out. Next, moving right along. So the patience level went down. Where back in the day, bands like Aerosmith, who didn't really have a really good selling record truly until Toys in the Attic, the Rolling Stones, David Bowie didn't have a #1 hit, I think, until, was it Fame? How many records in was he? 5, 6, 7 records? The record companies, they believed in you. They truly, they were like, wow, we believe in this guy. We really think this guy's a rock star. And they worked the band. They worked the artist until there was a payoff. And all of those concepts have gone out the window. And, and so now the record companies would go, oh, okay, Guns N' Roses. Oh, huge success. So then they just go on a fucking tear and they try and sign every band that even remotely looks, sounds, or acts like Guns N' Roses. And they flood the market, which means all of us at home with our phones and our computers and our radios, that radio is non-existent anymore.
That's true.
We get flooded with a million bands that sound like Guns N' Roses, and we're over it. We're done. Move on. Next, right. Nirvana. Next, whatever the next big thing is. And it's just crazy to me. Like, people look at, even a guy like me, they're like, 62. Well, time to take him out to pasture. You know what I mean? Old, you know what I mean? It's weird. Like a guy like me, the chances of me getting on a radio station are slim to none. MTV doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So this whole new thing, again, we go right back to what Gene Simmons was saying. The days of rock stars and it's just gone. Like we have literally, what was the old adage? 15 minutes of fame.
Right.
It's down to about 2.5 minutes now.
That's all people can handle.
Yeah. Because there's, I don't know, man. Again, I'm still, these are my opinions.
Of course.
I'm in kind of agreement with Gene as far as the actual record sales go. But as far as the shows go, you look at Guns N' Roses and Kiss and Aerosmith, the shows they do, or Metallica, Foo Fighters. I mean, they're still going out doing stupid amount of business. So it's this weird push and pull thing, or, tug of war. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is strange. I think I'll just say this really quick. The only artist that I think has that opportunity right now is Wolfie. Have you?
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't heard his whole record, but I've heard the tracks that I did hear were fucking awesome.
The whole album is fantastic.
Yeah, it was obvious in was it 2003, 5, 4? When he was coming into the band, Van Halen, Eddie was beaming, like, dude, you got to listen to my kid play and sing. And we were listening to this shit going, I think, how old was he at the time? 17, 16?
Something like that, yeah.
And we were like, holy fuck, man, this kid is fucking talented. He had the talent. And I'm taking nothing away from Wolfie, you know what I mean? But we have to ask ourselves one question, and I mean this in zero disrespect. Would he have the same impact if his last name wasn't Van Halen?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's just,
I hear you.
It's a weird world, man, and as great as the songs are, there's so many nuances to having a successful, even me, people look at me and they're like, oh man, you've done the Scream and Motley and da-da-da. But I've never really, I've just been that guy that's just been linear. If you look at an imaginary horizontal line and you said everything below it is obscurity and everything above it is fame and fortune, I've literally been scraping my back the whole fucking time on the bottom of that line. Like somebody will go, oh man, check out the new song by John Corabi. And everybody goes, oh, why does that name sound familiar? Do you know what I mean? I've been that guy my whole career. So, but it's just the mentality of the listeners. I post shit all the time on my Facebook page, Instagram page. Hey, check out my new single. It's available here and all your digital download sites. And inevitably, 10 people will write to me and 8 of them will ask me, where can I buy your record, dude? You know what I mean? So there's a weird disconnect with the internet. I can't figure it out.
No, I don't think it'll ever be figured out. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question, and this is only because I'm in Canada. I always like to finish my talks with this. Your 3 favorite Canadian bands or artists?
Wow, that's a good one, man, because there's honestly people, I really don't think that people get how many bands came out of Canada, musicians, and I mean, love Gordon Lightfoot. Um, um, you know, even back in the day, the Guess Who, I had no fucking idea they were from Canada, but I just dug their music. So I'm gonna say the Guess Who. I'm gonna go with the obvious. The Guess Who, Rush, Genius.
Absolutely.
It was, I was, you know, not being a drummer, but I was still crushed at the Peart passing.
Yeah, he's royalty up here.
Dude, what a like, and just everything the guy went through in the last 10 or 15 years of his life. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck. Yeah. You got to go with Rush. I mean, as far as Canada goes, they're the kings. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Love the Guess Who, and a friend of mine, Jerry, recently, he plays with Killer Dwarves.
Oh, I just saw him a while ago with Bumblefoot.
Yeah, well, Jerry was telling me a few years ago. He goes, "Oh yeah, man, I do some shows when I'm not working with the Dwarves. I work with Burton Cummings." And I was like, "Oh my God," like I just went on a tear. Like, "Oh my God, what a fucking voice. That guy could sing the phone book. And geez, what a voice, what a voice, what a voice." He goes, "Oh, you know, I love Burton Cummings. I love the Guess Who and, you know, all this stuff." And about a month later, I get this package in the mail, and it was a vinyl record from Burton, signed, "John, best wishes.
Wow.
Thanks, Burton Cummings." And I'm like, boom. So I got to go with the Guess Who, Burton Cummings. I got to go with them. And then a very dear friend of mine, Rush may be the kings, but she's definitely the queen. I'm going to go with Sass Jordan.
Oh, she's awesome.
I love Sass. I actually had the very good fortune of doing a video with her for Make You a Believer. God, years ago, 92, 93, whenever Racine came out. And I just sat and I listened to that record. I listened to her lyrics. I love Sass's personality. She's always so positive. You know, we've been friends for 30 years now. So I got, that's my three. And I mean this in no disrespect. Obviously, the Killer Dwarves are all great friends of mine. I love those guys as well. But I just those three for now. And then my strong, incredibly strong fourth, I'll go with the Dwarves.
Nice.
No disrespect to Neil Young, and you know, everybody else. But that's those three for those reasons. You know, whatever. They're my top. I'll give you four.
Perfect.
They're my top.
You know, it's funny you say that. Most people don't even realize that a lot of these people are Canadian. You know, like Sebastian Bach.
Yep, I knew. Yep.
Not many people realize he's from up here, but that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, and then even on the other side, man, it's like you sit there and you go, "Fuck, Bryan Adams." You know what I mean? It's like Jesus Christ. Like there's been so much. Alanis, it's unbelievable. You know, but those are my four. Canada, I don't know what you guys are drinking in the water up there, but you've obviously had some great artists over the last, you know, I think even was it Joni Mitchell? Yeah. So you guys have had some great ones, man. It's awesome.
We do all right. I think it might be the beer. It's stronger up here.
I know this.
Yeah.
Everything is stronger in Canada.
That's true. I'll take that as a compliment. Yes. Listen, dude, thanks so much for this. This is awesome. And yeah, if you do get up to Canada, get back out to Ottawa.
You know what, dude? Nothing would make me happier than to get out and start doing shows again.
Well, listen, best of luck with this. The song is fantastic.
Thank you, brother.
I'm hoping for more very soon.
It's coming.
Good. And yeah, if you get up to Canada, man, like do the whole country.
I would love. You know what? It's crazy. I was just thinking. Somebody wrote to me about coming to Vancouver, and I sat and I thought about it, and I'm like, I have 0 gigs in any of the bands that I've ever been in, or as a solo artist. I have never played in Vancouver.
Seriously?
Not once. 0. Not once. I've never played there with the Scream, Rat, Motley, Union, the Dead Daisies. 0. I've never done an acoustic show there. I've never played in Vancouver.
Well, you got to get out there.
Yes, I would love that. So I would love to go from Vancouver to whatever your farthest point east is.
Newfoundland.
Yeah, I would love to do that. But, you know, again, I think the fans think that I just ride around in a fucking station wagon. I just go, oh, this is a cool place. Let's be here tonight. I got to be invited by a promoter, and the fans have to show up or I'm never coming back again. You know what I mean? It's that simple.
All right. Well, I'll talk to the Brass Monkey. That's where you played with the Daisies last time you were here in Ottawa, and try and hook something up.
I actually played there on my solo tour as well. I did the 94 record there as well with my solo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great place.
I love coming up there. You guys are fucking awesome. And unfortunately though, every time I come, I'm like knee deep in snow, but it's all good.
We'll see what we can do. All right. Beers on me if you're up in Ottawa.
Awesome, brother.
Right on. Thanks again.
You too, buddy. Thank you.
Stay safe and good luck.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Ciao.
See ya.